Debating on the motion that this House would decriminalize libel. Calling on the Prime Minister to start this debate. Here, here.
Here, here. Here, here. Debating on the motion this House would decriminalize libel. The general thrust of government pension is very simple. Firstly, we do not discredit the whole idea, the whole principle behind libel, because yes, we believe that it has the propensity to be tangibly harmful towards society or towards the singular victims and certain individuals which it victimizes. However, our definition of decriminalization in this debate will not be to totally remove it as a form of a crime, but to lessen the gravity of the punishment by which we inflict upon these people. We believe that everything has its perks and works, and in this debate, government will be highlighting the benefits and the perks of our mechanism through our added values and the perks of status quo and the mechanism present right now which tries to curb down libel. Now looking into status quo, we believe that punishment for libel crimes range from 6 months to 6 years of imprisonment. And we believe that this is not due for these people, because when we anchor this upon journalism, particularly in the context of the Philippines, then we can see that there's a reason why these journalists try to probably exaggerate or exacerbate the true essence of the story at some point. Which is why we believe that there is no need for us to punish them through 6 months or 6 years imprisonment, that gravity and the magnitude of that punishment, because there are certain mechanisms and alternatives we can actually use which are corrective in nature and doesn't necessarily just scare people off into doing something right. Let's talk about ethical journalism. When we talk about ethical journalism, we talk about people telling the truth. Journalists in particular, because they are influential in character. However, on the flip side, we cannot also deny the fact that they are also profit-oriented, which is why at some point they actually have the propensity to fall flat on the ground and might tell lies in order to gain publicity and income. We believe, ladies and gentlemen, that that's not ethical journalism. However, we also do not believe that imprisonment is the answer to that. Because the reason why imprisonment is present in status quo is for the whole sake of deterrence, because we want to scare these people off into doing something right. But it doesn't work that way. It's not as easy as that. What we want to do is to implement a corrective measure, which is why our mechanism in this debate will be very simple. Number one, we want to remove imprisonment. Number two, we want to engage them into public apology in order not only to correct them and them as journalists, but also the people which they have victimized. And number three, we will still continue the payment of proportionate to the damages which they have done to their victims, particularly when we talk about political figures, celebrities, maybe religious figures. But before that, yes, Pepe.
So you're telling me we'll lessen the punishment of someone who might destroy the image of a person for an entire life, and you're just gonna lessen the punishment they had?
Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, our mechanism talks about public apology. Because the thing about status quo is that we punish these people, but it doesn't erase the victims will always be branded for life as whatever assumptions these journalists may have done. We believe, ladies and gentlemen, that even if I imprison Kuya Hiram because of saying some false matter against me, that doesn't change the fact that people will talk about me, whatever assumption is made against me. So we want public apology. What is the added value of public apology? We believe that through publicly apologizing to these people through their proper mediums like media, like print media, or even on TV, we believe that it automatically erases that branded name of that person or that particular victim from whatever social taboos and social stigmas attached to them by whatever assumptions those journalists have made against them. We believe, ladies and gentlemen, that there are perks when it comes to public apology. When we talk about public apology, we're talking about people who are trying to, who don't only reduce the gravity and the magnitude of the harm which they have inflicted upon their victims, but also reverses this. So what happens is that it becomes corrective and coercive in nature. Why? Corrective because it eliminates the whatever social stigma attached to the victims, and on the flip side, it's coercive. It tells people that that whatever assumptions they've done earlier or previously will no longer have to be talked about later on. So what happens with status quo is that it doesn't have this. It doesn't have public apology. So even if we imprison certain someone, what happens is that that person will continually be branded for life, and we cannot allow that. What we believe, ladies and gentlemen, is that deterrence plays a role in status quo. No thank you, no more coins, shut up, sit down. No more, so what happens with status quo is that because it doesn't have public apology, it's not because it doesn't have public apology, because it doesn't have public apology, then these people will always be branded for life. And what happens that what happens in our status quo is that it has this as an added value because it works as a perk. What happens through our mechanism is when it is through public apology, we still have deterrence who's scaring these people off into doing something right. Yes, we believe in deterrence, however, it's not fully effective, which is why our policy removes imprisonment but continually has the proportional payment because it becomes a win-win situation. What happens for the victim is that he gets to be reimbursed from all the economic damages caused by these journalists and whatnot. While on the flip side, it still continually inflicts deterrence upon these people, upon these journalists, through telling them that if you're going to make assumptions against certain public figures again in the future, then you will have to pay because it's something which will not allow it anchored to ethical journalism. To recapitulate the Prime Minister's speech in this debate, number one, we believe that status quo has its loopholes which we want to correct. What we want to do is to perform a corrective measure not only towards these journalists or anyone who actually engages in libel, but also corrects the social stigma and social stamp inflicted upon these victims through public apology. Thank you.
Speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 35 seconds.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Encouraging both sides to raise points of information. Calling on the Leader of Opposition to clash. Hear, hear.
The government did not just twist the definition of decriminalization, Mr. Chair. They also twist the status quo at present. Why? Because they told us that public apology does not exist in the current, in the status quo, Mr. Chair. But we say it's the first in the process before filing, or there is an option if ever you will file a libel case, Mr. Chair. The criminal has the option to public apologize as much as the victim would love and would give privilege to him to do so. Secondly, Mr. Chair, the damage in the status quo depends upon the damage inflicted by the aggrieved party. This necessarily suggests that it does not necessarily imprison the person as long as he has paid the damage inflicted. This means that a person does not necessarily go to prison if ever he'll pay the damage justified by the law. We believe, Mr. Chair, that upon legislation, libel cases, the legislators examine the just punitive action. And for this to fly in this debate, Mr. Chair, the government should first prove to us that there are immediate harms that pressure us to decriminalize such crime. Because as far as we can see, libel as a criminal act is already regulated by the law. There are cases that that manifest its effectivity. We believe, Mr. Chair, that the status quo is best in the present. Why? First, the reasons are first, we believe that libel as a criminal act needs a policy that would serve as a deterrent factor to possible acts that would harm one's culture, one's belief, one's ethnicity, one's integrity, and freedom. And if we will lessen or if we will take away the imprisonment, Mr. Chair, the truth of the law may be vanished as well. Why? Because people are afraid to be imprisoned. And if ever they are afraid to be imprisoned, Mr. Chair, apparently they won't do libel crimes at the end of the day. Second, we believe that libel in current state serves as a mechanism of check and balance, Mr. Chair, to mitigate the possibility of crime against human person, culture, integrity, belief, ethnicity, and freedom. And third, libel in the current state, Mr. Chair, serves as a vanguard to protect one's belief and dignity. Question, if we would take away punishment, if we would take away imprisonment as punishment, Mr. Chair, do you really think that libel as a policy would be that effective as today, Mr. Chair, members of this House? We believe that it's not. Second, because of this, Mr. Chair, the three reasons boils down to the affirmation that indeed libel cases as a criminal act should maintain its disposition and thus we adhere the status quo. But before I proceed with my argument,
So you tell us that the reason why libel cases are why perpetrators when it comes to libels are victims